This just happened, and it's putting all Buffalo Bills fans on high alert. My friend, something very serious is going on behind the scenes, and two huge pieces of information have just crossed the Bills' path. One involving our wide receiver group, and the other directly problematic for our next opponent. And I'll tell you, when these two pieces come together, the story changes completely. The atmosphere in Buffalo has turned upside down in the last few hours, and what I've discovered could transform the offense and create an absurd advantage for Thursday's game. But before I reveal everything, if you're a true Bills Mafia fan, leave a like and subscribe, because what you're about to tell me are those bombshells that only appear here on the channel. The Buffalo Bills are in one of the most delicate moments of their offense in the Josh Allen era, and the timing couldn't be worse. What was previously expected as a slow and carefully structured transition to a new receiver identity after Stefon Diggs' departure has suddenly become a glaring concern that threatens the balance of the entire offense. Keon Coleman, crafted and developed to become a pivotal player, has become the center of a growing storm. His benching and subsequent deactivation in Week 11 for arriving late to a team meeting was more than a disciplinary measure. It exposed serious doubts about the readiness, professionalism, and ability of Buffalo's receiving corps to support an elite quarterback at the peak of his career. Coleman's struggles on the field only exacerbated this problem. His inability to deflect physical or even average cornerbacks limited the range of plays and forced Josh Allen to improvise high-risk plays far more often than the coaching staff would have liked. For a unit already lacking proven depth, Coleman's regression placed even more pressure on Allen's tendency towards spectacular individual plays, a dangerous formula for any team aiming for a playoff spot in the ultra-competitive AFC. In short, the draft Bills no longer have the luxury of patience. I need answers now, not in 3 weeks, not in the offseason. And that's precisely why Odell Beckham Jr. has reappeared on Buffalo's radar. At 33 years old and coming off a 6-game suspension for violating the league's substance abuse policy, Beckham is no longer the superstar who defied physics with one-handed catches, but he doesn't need to be. What the Bills need now isn't a WR1. They need the respect of opposing defenses. Beckham still commands that respect, even during his low-key stint with the Miami Dolphins. With only 9 receptions for 55 yards, defensive coordinators had to worry about him. He still drew the attention of security. He still influenced coverage, and that alone is more than most of Buffalo's current receivers can consistently deliver. The Bills already missed their chance to sign a receiver before the November 4th trade deadline, a window they've aggressively exploited in the past. Just remember their 2024 bid for Amari Cooper, who, despite modest stats, forced a move. Defenses had to adapt simply because of who he was. Beckham fit that profile perfectly. His route IQ remains elite, his footwork is still precise enough to gain an advantage inside, and his ability to track the ball gives Josh Allen a reliable target when plays don't go as planned. In critical moments, long third downs, chaos in the red zone, 2-minute plays, Beckham's veteran presence can be the difference between a stopped drive and a touchdown. The beauty of this signing lies not in the fact that it carries virtually no long-term risk. Beckham is a free agent. There are no compensatory picks involved, no complicated salary cap commitments, and no need for modified roster juggling. If he fits into Joe Brady's offensive philosophy, the Bills gain a valuable weapon. Otherwise, move on. No harm done. But the potential, a veteran who has played under pressure in the playoffs, who understands defensive strategies, who excels in crucial moments, is irresistible. This decision isn't about nostalgia or clinging to a fading star. It's about protecting Josh Allen's peak. It's about stabilizing a group of receivers that has become dangerously frightening. And it's about ensuring Buffalo doesn't waste another season depending on Allen to perform miracles week after week. Beckham represents an opportunity. Imperfect, yes, but real. And speaking of opportunity, the Bills' next opponent, the Houston Texans, may have unintentionally created the biggest one of all. And this gift came from the Houston Texans themselves. When the Buffalo Bills take the field on Thursday Night Football, they will face a drastically different Texans team than the one they saw in Week 5 of the 2024 season. And the most drastic change is one that could tip the scales heavily in Buffalo's favor. Houston deliberately created a gap in one of the most irreplaceable positions in American football. Trading an elite left tackle is almost unheard of in the NFL, especially a player in the prime of his career like Laramie Tunsil, a 5-time Pro Bowl selection and one of the most technically refined pass protectors of his generation. However, the Texans did exactly that last March, sending Tunsil to the Washington Commanders in exchange for for 3 draft picks. In theory, the Texans believe they were making a great deal and reshaping their long-term future. In practice, they may have exposed their starting quarterback, whether it's C.J. Stroud or Davis Mills on Thursday, to one of the most impactful defenses they will face all season. To replace Tunsil, Houston made what seemed, at the time, a safe move, signing Cam Robinson for 1 year and $12 million. But very little went as planned. Robinson was traded to the Cleveland Browns in September for a 2027 draft pick, leading the Texans to turn to rookie Ariante Ursary, a second-round pick whose transition to the NFL has been anything but smooth. His current 57.7 rating on Pro Football Focus places him 57th out of 76 qualified tackles, a number that doesn't tell the whole story of his struggles, especially in pass protection against elite pass rushers. While Houston's sack count has technically improved, dropping from 3.4 per game in 2024 to 2.5, the reality is quite different when you look deeper. The Texans have suffered 15 sacks in their 5 losses this season, compared to just 10 in their 5 wins, and those losses weren't random. These events occurred against defenses built to relentlessly pressure the quarterback. Rams, Buccaneers, Jaguars, Seahawks, and Broncos. All of these teams consistently collapse the pocket and destabilize quarterbacks' timing, and that's exactly where the Bills' defense excels when fully focused. Last week, Baker Mayfield managed to escape Buffalo's pressure thanks to his mobility, creativity, and sheer stubbornness, taking on only 1 sack despite being constantly pressured in the pocket. But the Texans don't have that luxury this week. C.J. Stroud remains in concussion protocol, leaving Davis Mills as the likely starter. Mills is a classic pocket quarterback, tough, intelligent, and technically sound, but not someone who can create plays when the pocket crumbles around him. Against a Bills defensive line with Joey Bosa, Greg Rousseau, and Ed Oliver, that lack of mobility can quickly turn into a nightmare. And it's not just about sacks, it's about how the Texans' offensive line completely changes the identity of the offense. Without Tunsil, Houston has struggled to consistently run the left flank, forcing them into predictable formations and patterns. When that happens, the Bills' defense, even with its inconsistencies, becomes much more dangerous. Sean McDermott excels at forcing opponents into a one-dimensional game, and Thursday night's game has all the ingredients to be a match where Buffalo can dictate the pace from the line of scrimmage. If Beckham ends up joining the Bills, he won't help the defense. But knowing that Houston's biggest structural flaw is precisely where the Bills are strongest creates a change of pace that connects with everything from the start. Buffalo's offense needs help, yes, but Buffalo's defense may have the perfect opportunity to control the game long enough for Josh Allen and his receiving corps, with or without Beckham, to regain their rhythm. With the Bills considering a bold move for Odell Beckham Jr., preparing to exploit the Texans' biggest offensive weakness, and facing a growing urgency to protect Josh Allen's prime, what do you think Buffalo needs most right now? A decisive veteran, an impressive defensive performance, or a complete overhaul of their offensive identity? Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Buffalo Bills news.